Right, thank you very much for downloading this. It's marketing. Now, I've always got confused within marketing, advertising, promotion. They're similar things, but they're not quite the same. And I'm not going to be brilliant at explaining everything, but I hope you will get some ideas on how it can help yourself. So what I've done is it was basically what some other people do. I've lifted some advice that I've found on sales and sales from a business. And when it comes to business are there to make money, as you'll just find out shortly. And the way that they work is or one of the ways they work is they disturb their customer into thinking slightly different, and they try and take them up, as it says, an agreement staircase, and they kind of point out the reality, whether it's that their mobile phone doesn't take absolutely fantastic videos and you can't twist it around into 3 or 4D and make a hologram, but the new one can, and they have the chance to be the first to engage with it, to be an early adopter, and and you can get it for like £120 a month with £500 upfront fee, and you think, jackety do, here we go. That doesn't always apply to dentistry, but this does perio. And so what I've done is I've just played around with it a bit. So this kind of staircase is you can change it into whatever you want if you use I think the thesaurus is it. Anyway, moving on. If you really want to know about marketing, then this is someone, and I've downloaded his podcasts. I haven't actually used his book, but he's done a TED Talk. And if you don't know what a TED Talk is, go online now. There's a couple on teeth. They're pretty good. There aren't many on teeth. But anyway, he explains marketing. So the book is, I think it's been out about a couple of years, called This is Marketing. If you don't want to buy the podcast, if you actually go on YouTube, it's got the whole podcast on a YouTube clip, which I'm sure is illegal. But anyway, there you go. He is excellent at explaining about marketing. And what he wants to do is basically what I'm trying to do is to pass on experience. Because if we're not really marketing health, then in some ways we are, we're not being effective, that's for sure. You'll get some lawyer who'll tell you you're not, and then you'll end up in trouble. So the other thing is the aims and objectives. What is marketing? And using marketing to help you, then use marketing to help the patients, and the tools that I use are going to come up. So this guy you won't recognise, he's called Peter Drucker. He's been dead a long time, but he's a business guru, or was the original business guru. And so if you look up a lot of his quotes, they're quite inspiring. And it's because it's about human behaviour. While we've done fantastic leaps and bounds with technology, and some of you have kept up and some of you probably haven't, but some of the things that he said are really good. He just says one about computing that I think is wrong. But anyway, what he says here is the aim of marketing. Well, you can read it yourself. But what it is that it's talking about business, and you don't have a business unless you generate a profit. And it's just that we're in a peculiar position. We're in the business of health, and we see people individually, and it can be quite stressful when you're dealing with the general public and what they want and what they can afford and what they need and what you can provide. Already you're getting stressed. Anyway, moving on. So a bit about me. So I'm not going to, I'll bore you, but if you go on these websites, I've got pages about me. The first one is, because I made a web page. I made it because my dad got dementia. The whole story's there. It's now must be 6 years old. And I made it because my dad was in a care home, and the clients that in the care home, it was a dementia unit. Their oral health, their oral hygiene's, it just falls apart. Everyone's wearing everyone else's denture. It's just a nightmare place. But lots of my patients were carers, and they never had any instruction on health. So that's why I made the web page for them. And then it was because I quite fancied making a web page. I'd done one before, And then I just added a whole section for different groups. And then if you actually download it onto your phone, there's some surveys about oral cancer, which would be great if you could do that. And then just around lockdown, because we all started doing Zoom, a person was heavily involved in giving talks on minimal invasive dentistry, which is something I've always been interested in. And so I made this website. So the bit about MID is his lecture notes basically on that. And I just filled in the rest. And so have a look at my blog. If you're relatively young, have a look at the future. There's a whole section there, and there's a really long video on prevention MID. So what we're trying to do is provide the public with health advice they need. That's my view. And then, as it says, disturbing the customer to provide what they want. Well, I'm just using the term really, but as you know, a lot of people, what they want and what they need are two different things, and we want to do both. And if we can provide what they need, what they want will last a lot longer, and that's got to be a good thing. It'll guarantee your work, basically. And the other thing that's really, I think, is really interesting is that they trust you. Lots of people say that, if you meet them in a party, how they hate sort of going to the dentist. Oh, but my dentist's great, or my hygienist is great, that kind of thing. So I think we can utilise this position that we have, which is relatively unique in the health service, because people pay to come and see us in the main. And so when it says disturbing the customer to buy, so this was actually lifted from a company selling critical illness cover. And of course, in the end, they found out actually that was illegal and they ended up getting fined. But their sales pitch worked really well. It was just that they were selling something that was really, I think we'll come on to it. It's a bad nudge, basically. It's a bad nudge. And so when it says to get patients to buy an app template, well, I've made an app and the vast majority of you can use it for free. Hygienists, dental nurses, dental receptionists. Dentists, I'm asking to pay for it, but if you say you're a hygienist, then you get it for free. But I can't make an app, so I have to pay someone to produce it. I just put the content in. And so this is me. So I'll play this a bit. So I'm desperate to try and get people to use my app. I think it'll start. There we go. The other day I come flying down this path, as I normally do. And I went along there, and I go to a lovely headland. You may have seen a picture of Carapatera. But then when I come back, I missed the turn, and I went up there. And I spent the next 2 hours cycling. At this time I've come and listening to my little podcast on Soda Wars. So just have a little read of some of these things here. I think we can do a lot if we all pull together. We're not going to do it with sugar tax, but maybe we can all help. Right, so that's my Instagram account, and I haven't got many followers, so please follow me. But social media, I'm clearly struggling on that. So going on, that was about a lot of the things I've used and listened to. I get on podcasts or on YouTube or I'm struggling to think now, the TED Talks. Right, okay, but, this has just come out, was it 8th of August? What date is it today? Yeah, this is 2 days later. So everybody knows about the problem that we have. And it didn't really explain it very good. I actually did watch this last night. And it's sort of typical in that it just individualizes everything. So you always see the one person who has a problem and the one person who is pulling out their own teeth. But we know there is a problem, right? The problem's existed for such a long time, but the public still perceive that there is NHS dentistry, and it should be there for everyone. But we want to pay less tax. The two things don't merge. Anyway, so that's the problem with regard to access to dentistry, and this also applies to private dentists now. If your books are full, what can we do? And so the effect then is if you are within the health service, then you go, and even if you're not, we're often far too busy, and we're stressed. Now, I haven't produced the reference for your performance when you're stressed, but I think it's like if you're stressed, it's 30% less and you're more likely to make mistakes. That in itself has a knock-on effect when you can't really think, and then as it says there, just look at the words, and I obviously just type them in, but you want to have more time with your family and friends, and you don't want to be worried about what you did earlier in the day, and if Mrs. Jones is going to sue you because she didn't follow your advice and her perio's poor. And so we want to support our well-being, so that's a big term at the moment, and there are lots of devices to help you do that. But do they work? Do you use them? And that's it. I used to worry about giving the best advice for your patients, and sometimes it's not what they want to hear. So yeah, there's the BDA. There you go. We have got problems, and it's one of these odd things is that sometimes we don't help ourselves. There are lots of things that we do that have daft consequences, and Instagram is one of them. When you see some fancy work, which you won't see on any of my Instagram pages, it demoralizes for those who are struggling because of the constraints that we work under within maybe the corporate, but certainly within the NHS. Can you do a root filling on the NHS? Well, of course you can. But you'll be bankrupt very quickly. So then the result of this is, as it says here, you go home, you don't feel great. And I spoke to a friend recently who's my age, and it was 10:30 at night, and they had to stop the conversation because they had to finish writing up their notes for the day. And you're thinking then it's gone mad if that's the pressure that we're under. So this was, as you can see, a couple of years ago, but it hasn't changed really. And on the other hand, sometimes it's self-perpetuating. I don't think the figures are that high. And it's how you ask the question. But the information and what we're meant to do and what we're told to do, it's just a square circle. You just can't get everything done. So this is reproduced every couple of years, which you will have seen. And we can actually use this information if we put it into an electronic format with videos rather than, as it is here, I think it's like a 54-page document. And we can target it to the people that need that particular bit of advice. And this is just to say that actually I did go on this course. It was a great course. I was the only one there with dentistry, and of course the chap there said, well, there's no money available for dentistry. But there is money available for diabetes. There is money available for cancer. Are any of these related to dentistry? Well, of course they are. I keep trying to get some of the money from them, but I haven't managed yet. And so the outcome of this is, I think I can help you, you can help me, and it'll sort of create, as it says here, a win-win. Stephen Covey, I think I got the book when it came out about 25 years ago. And what you want is something that works for you and something that works for the customer. That isn't necessarily true when people get missold mortgages and things like that. But anyway, that's what we're aiming for, a win-win for us and our patients or our clients, whichever you want to call them. So what I used to do was prior to this, I'd sent emails to my patients showing them how to clean their teeth in a different manner. So the best one was on perio courses, and I haven't got time to explain all of that. But I used email templates in the end, and I'd send them out with the BPE and the BWE on, and a couple of videos preloaded. It'd take about 20 seconds. Your assistant, your nurse can do it. But yeah, do use email templates. They're all on your practice software, which you pay a lot of money for. And if you can't make the template, or you're not allowed to make the template, then get your manager to do it. So you don't necessarily need to know the skills within your software. You just need to know where to look. And clearly I played around a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, but the whole system didn't crash. No, it won't crash. There's a whole section there. So this was off, the big player at the time, so it's off SOE. I think SOE have just bought out Dentally, and you can make your own. I've added how to do this at the end. And if it'd be useful if someone made a video showing you how to use it on these different systems. You pay for them, so we should use them. Yeah, so I used to contact people via email. And of course, with the smartphone, what you do is the patient's in the chair and you're giving them their information, right? You don't have to go through the whole thing about the BPE. You can just say, well, it's related to their general health. And if they get it up, things will work better. They want to be in the green in order for you to actually commence treatment, although, that's how the health service falls down, really, or dentistry falls down. But the contact way, I contact them with email, and I'd send the email while the patient's in the room with a smartphone and say, did you get the email? I never used MMS, which, I'm sure you could do that. And clearly WhatsApp, people are using WhatsApp a lot more. In a few years' time, it'll probably be something else. But you have to find, I think WhatsApp might be slightly better now as a way of contacting people. But just ask them, before they leave the room, have they received the email you sent them? Because that relates to perio. And so in a few years' time, if they haven't followed the advice that you've just sent them, then you've got a record and you've really tried your best to inform them, and it may help protect you in the future. So that's the staircase. And it was called something else with a different company. I'm sure everyone else has a different staircase, but it's a problem and an effect. The result of that, the information you provide, and getting an outcome that you want, right? And so that's, obviously I've played around with that, but I think it works. Oh yeah, and right, we used to do peer review groups. They're great. But it doesn't take much to learn how to use PowerPoint. I've added a few little bits. Sorry, I was just skipped through that. But you can spend hours doing these things. So to be honest, I have, but not all of it worked well. So this perio works for your clients or your patients, and so then, if you ask what the problem is, then you can almost turn it towards that, whatever their issue is. I think the way I did it here was just about basically getting to be seen, I think. So it's the same for them, the problem, effect, result, information, outcome. So if you follow that route or this staircase, so clearly I'm starting to struggle now. So I thought I ought to add a little bit showing you how I got started, sort of by sending out YouTube videos for my patients, and just to kind of motivate them. And so that, when it comes to health, you can show them that, but when it comes to treatment, they can show something else. So you can do both. And at the end of Perio 2, which is sort of how you motivate your patients or market your patients, I'll do the bit on what I did after this. But just give it a little look. And see what you think. And if you look through my app, you'll see there's lots of animations. This one is just messing about, and it's the likelihood of getting a good NHS dental contract. I thought I'd make a drawing to represent it. So this I made over 4 years ago. Oh yeah, if you've got really good eyesight, it says, so I've made these different what are they called, templates. So you can see there's one on flossing, cleaning, water pick, disclosing. So these are all videos that I'd recommend to people. Now the one on molar apicectomy, clearly that's a joke. That's a dental joke. So if you follow this, it will explain how to make a template. I think it might have been on tooth whitening, and it's probably redundant now. But you can do your own. You just start playing around. That's the best thing about IT, is if you make a mistake, you can go back. You don't think, oh, I should have taken out the 6, not the 7. So bear in mind this was a little while ago. But I hope you found this useful, and please provide feedback. What you like, what you don't like, and you can cut and paste. I can take sections of this out, which clearly I will, because I got interrupted a few times. Anyway, hope you enjoy your dentistry. So like I said, this is something I made about 4 years ago, so I'm now talking over it because the audio was poor, and this isn't great because the fan's going. But you can see that what I've done is I've taken screenshots from my computer at work and just used preview to highlight what I've got here. So just have a little look and see how it works for you. But this is where I'm going through it, surprisingly enough, where you can see the little red marks. And you kind of learn how to use this software if you play around with it enough. So there, I'm talking about a molar apicectomy. Well, clearly I didn't send that to anyone. But what you do is when you make these up, then send them to someone. So send them to yourself or send them to your colleague, just to make sure that what you're sending is correct. So whichever software you're with, there will be something similar. And so it should be free. It shouldn't be an add-on. And so what you do is, I used to take videos that I liked. I think the main one was from Perio Courses. But look on YouTube, there's a guy called Andre Hager, I think his name is. He's got some great videos. They're just a little bit long for most people now. 6 minutes a while ago was fine, but now people want all the advice within a minute. So you can hear the fan starting to kick off. I really need a new computer. But this is how it works. And so you can just slow it down. And the other one is that you could make one yourself. So if you've got Dentally, which is taken over from this is SOE, or you've got Arthur, then produce one for all your staff. I made these for our peer review group, and I did one on whitening, and they're on the teethforlife.org.uk website. It's all there, the video with better audio. Okay, well I think 20 minutes is enough. Please go to the other video after you've had a cup of coffee, but also go to this website. It's generally that you can download the app for free. You can see a lot of information about prevention and MID, and you can provide feedback there, and let's engage one another, help one another, and let's make a dental health service based on prevention. There's a huge space there, and we could fill it.